144Hz monitors. What are they, and are they worth it? Let's find out. So if you're a gamer out there, you've probably heard of monitors like this one, which is the Asus MG278Q, which is a 144Hz refresh rate monitor at 1440p. And if you don't know what the refresh rate is, it's how many times the screen refreshes a second, how many images can be displayed a second. For instance, a 60Hz monitor can only display 60 images a second. So, say if you're playing a game like CSGO, Overwatch, for instance, it doesn't matter. If you're getting 200, let's say 200 plus frames a second in game, okay, so you're getting 200 plus, but the monitor is only a 60Hz refresh rate monitor. Now you may be getting 200 frames a second in your game, but you're only going to be seeing 60 of those frames because a monitor can only output 60 images every second. Now that's where monitors like this one come in. 144Hz obviously can display well over twice as many frames with 144 refreshes a second compared to 60. Now you're probably wondering, is it worth getting one of these monitors? Is it worth buying a higher refresh rate monitor? Say if you're a hardcore gamer out there, you're playing CSGO, you're playing Overwatch, is it worth getting one? Well, to answer that, I got this monitor a while ago. I've been using it for a good couple of days, and I basically wanted to share my experience going from 60Hz at 1080p to 1440p at 144Hz, and what kind of difference it made, and was it worth it to spend all that on a monitor to get those things. Now, in my experience, as soon as I made the switch over to this monitor, the difference was quite immediate. Just everything from using the desktop to browsing the web was so much smoother, especially when you're scrolling through websites, YouTube, whatever you're on, or even just moving windows around. It just seems so much smoother. You can just see it as soon as you try. Now, you're probably wondering, what kind of impact does that make on gaming? Well, going from 60Hz to 144Hz just on desktop use, there was quite a bit of a difference immediate, and it just looked so much smoother. But gaming is a completely different story. Now, I've been using 60Hz monitors pretty much all my life, ever since I started gaming, and I thought that looked really nice, smooth, because it is kind of smooth, it's 60. But as soon as I jumped into a game of Overwatch on this monitor, that all changed. Everything just seemed so much more responsive. The movement when you looked around was just so clean and clear and smooth. There was no blurriness, no sputtering. It was just such a clean, smooth image. So if you're a hardcore gamer out there playing games like CSGO, Overwatch, Team Fortress 2, flick-based shooters, then is it worth it getting a higher refresh rate monitor? Well, in my opinion and experience, yes. I would definitely say it is definitely worth trying out a 120 or 144Hz refresh rate monitor, because the difference is fantastic. Everything from just walking around, looking around, is just so much smoother. And if you're trying to aim and hit your target very precisely, then having a higher refresh rate monitor definitely will be beneficial. Now, if you're wondering about higher resolution monitors like 1440p monitors or 4K monitors, you're probably thinking, what kind of difference can you expect from having a higher resolution monitor? Well, I'm just going to say this. I have used a 4K monitor. It was an Asus one. I can't remember which one it was, but it was a 28-inch 4K monitor, and it was quite a noticeable difference going from 1080p to 4K straight away. It did look quite nice and clean. But then I decided to get this monitor because I wanted a higher refresh rate monitor, because I have wanted to try what it was like. And this one is a 1440p monitor. And if you want my opinion on resolution, anything higher than 1080p is going to be quite a nice difference. Everything's going to look nice and clean and clear, but if you're already playing at 1440p and you're planning on maybe upgrading to 4K, the difference is not as big as you would expect, because 1440p is already quite a high resolution, and jumping to 4K from 1440p, the difference is there. You will see a difference, but don't be expecting anything major. It is a small difference in detail, not very much. So personally, I'd say if you're a gamer, it's probably better to go for 1440p than it is 4K, because 1440p is much easier to run, it's less demanding on your graphics card. So if you're someone out there who's stuck between a 144Hz refresh rate monitor or a 4K monitor, and you're having a really tough time deciding which one you want, because I was in that situation before I got this, I couldn't decide whether I wanted the 4K or the 144Hz. Now, after using both of them, I would definitely have to say that having a higher refresh rate is definitely much more noticeable than a higher resolution. Just having that higher refresh rate in games just makes such a big difference. Even just general use on the desktop is just so much better and so much smoother, and I would definitely always say go for a higher refresh rate monitor if you can. But that's just my opinion. It depends on what you really want. Now, if you're a content creator, then a 4K monitor is probably going to benefit you a lot more than a higher refresh rate monitor is. But then again, if you're a content creator, you're probably better off getting an IPS panel than you are a TN panel, because IPS panels have much more color accuracy and better viewing angles, and are much better for content creations like photo editing or maybe even video editing. If you're a professional content creator out there, then a higher refresh rate monitor isn't really going to benefit you. But if you're a gamer and you're looking for some of the best experiences you can have with a monitor in your game, then having a higher refresh rate monitor is definitely much better than having 4K. Now, if you want to try and get a taste of both worlds or get a perfect balance in between the two, then a monitor like this one is definitely a good choice, with a 1440p resolution and a 144Hz refresh rate, so that way you get both a higher resolution somewhere in between 1080p and 4K, and you get the benefit of having that higher refresh rate. And in games, having both of those things put together, 1440p resolution and 144Hz refresh rate, is amazing. So to sum it all up, I would definitely recommend you should at least try a 144Hz monitor if you can, or if you're having a tough time deciding which monitor to get. A higher refresh rate monitor is definitely going to be much more beneficial to you as a gamer than having a 4K monitor or something like that. Now, if you really want to go all out and get some of the best experiences you can in gaming, then a monitor like this one is definitely not a bad choice, with both a 144Hz refresh rate and 1440p. And in my experience, this is a fantastic monitor for gaming. Having both those things put together is amazing. So at the end of it all, 144Hz refresh rate is definitely better for gamers, and if you're a gamer, it's definitely a much better choice than something like 4K. And if you want to have a bit of both, then having a 1440p monitor with 144Hz refresh rate is definitely a good way to go. So the reason I wanted to make this video is because I know 1440p monitors, 4K monitors, and 144Hz monitors are starting to become much cheaper, much more regularly available, and I know there's a lot of people out there still using a 60Hz monitor at 1080p thinking, would it be worth making the jump to a higher refresh rate or resolution? And in my opinion, yes. It is definitely a good investment in getting a higher resolution or higher refresh rate, but if you're a gamer, getting a higher refresh rate is much more beneficial and noticeable than a higher resolution. Like, you will see games look much better with a higher resolution, but you would definitely notice a much bigger difference with a higher refresh rate. So I just wanted to add my opinion to the whole thing about higher refresh rate and high resolution monitors. Now, if you're a gamer, it definitely is better to have a higher refresh rate, but if you're a content creator, it's probably better to have something like IPS and a higher resolution monitor. So hopefully this video helped you if you're struggling to decide what kind of monitor to get, and hopefully making the decision between a higher resolution or higher refresh rate will have been made much easier for you. And subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one and reviews, and this is Overclocked Mayhem.